Hey guys, so we have another Switch leak, and it's pretty funny. I don't like to toot my own horn on this one, but if you check my my old video here, you'll see that what you're about to hear from this leak, I pretty much said was going to happen. I pretty much called it literally almost down to a T. So go check that video out if you're new to the channel. It was a while ago. I think I was just at like 1,000 subscribers. This was a couple weeks ago, so check that video out if you haven't. So we had a leak come out. And this is from Laura Dale. She is a Twitter user who actually has, from my opinion, some actual inside sources working with Nintendo, because the leaks that she has provided are very believable and some of them end up being completely true. For example, she put the leak out about, from what I can tell, the Guardians of the Galaxy Telltale series, and I didn't see anything about that before I saw it with her, and then the Game Awards come around and they announce it like completely. So she had knowledge of that before it even came out, and she had knowledge that it was coming to the Switch. So we don't have an official announcement for it going to the Switch, but its release date kind of coincides with when the Switch will be out. So I think there are some legitimate leaks here from her, and this one is funny because, like I said, I talked about the dock in one of my older ones, and this is pretty much what I said it would do. So let's check the tweet out real quick. It's going to be up here. It's basically a picture that she put up from her inside source. And essentially what it says is when the system is connected to the dock by USB-C, the system's components will run at a higher clock speed to facilitate the 1080p visuals on the TV. Both video and power will be transferred over USB-C when docked. Plugging the system into the dock will also activate a small additional fan to help cooling when running at the higher clock speed. This fan is in the rear of the dock, and there is a gap in the back of the dock to allow the system's inbuilt fans to vent when docked. That tells us a couple things. That tells us that there is a fan in the dock, and that tells us that there is a fan in the actual tablet system. So when it is undocked, it will still run well because it will have an active cooling solution. That SMOC-Z, or SMATC, whatever I showed you guys the other day, is going to try to be passive at 750 gigaflops. If it was actively cooled, if it was overclocked, it would be very powerful. I think it would eclipse the teraflop there, which would put it very close to the Xbox One. If we go down from there, it says that the dock is incredibly lightweight and all that. Like I said, it was probably meant to be something you would purchase for multiple TVs, different rooms, so you could take one with you, maybe if you go on vacation and leave one here, that way you don't forget yours there, or if you want to set it up, multiple TVs in the house, and that's what they say actually in this, at the bottom of this as well. So a lot of people thought that there would be some kind of extra power in the dock. It's not necessary because when overclocked, the chips can become more powerful pretty well, and it can actually jump in resolution. We see that with video cards on test benches. When people do things like overclock, they can go from a low resolution like a 720 to a 1080, or in their case a 1080 to 1440, just by overclocking their video card. And if it's an ARM chip with a Tegra processor, I have to imagine the overclock headroom is pretty high. Because you can jam more power through these chips and bring their clock speed up as long as you can cool the crap out of it. It sounds like a fan is going to be in the dock. Like I was saying, I pointed out in my old video, just so you guys can just hear it now, that the dock was shaped oddly, okay? And the reason I thought it was shaped that way, and what I'm saying is, on the front, it seemed odd that there was a very high front to it. A lot of people said it's probably to cover the screen. That's fine. The Wii U tablet didn't have that though. Keep that in mind. I don't really know why the screen would have to be covered, to be honest, if it's just resting there. But my thought was that it was basically mimicking a wind tunnel, okay? And that would allow the fan to pull air either down through it or push air up through it. It feels like it's probably going to pull air down through it. And that makes sense. It has to be able to cool what is probably going to be a very hot chip when overclocked. Okay, and this makes a lot of sense. I'm starting to kind of get the feeling that I am underestimating this chip from prior. Because remember, I said maybe like twice the power of the Wii U, maybe even when docked, based on another leak that happened. And if you want to hear about this leak, watch Newswave tonight, because I'm going to talk about it then. I don't want this whole video to go off on a tangent with something else. It sounds like the Switch, when docked, is going to support a game that the Xbox One couldn't display at 1080p at the time. It had to be upscaled from 900p. I believe it was a lower resolution, had to upscale too. And that is interesting because that tells me, guys, that the Switch, when docked, has the potential to be more powerful than the Xbox One. And now, guys, I'm not even sure. Maybe it is as powerful as the PS4 when docked. Now, don't get me wrong, when it is taken off of that dock, it is going to become less powerful than the Xbox One, more than likely, but it won't need that power to push a 720p image along when it's a portable unit. That's fine. But man, when plugged in with USB-C pushing some serious wattage through that chip, I don't see why it couldn't hit Xbox One or greater levels without too much issue, especially since this chip will have newer hardware than both the PS4 and the Xbox One. It's gonna have, guys, it's gonna have newer hardware than the PS4 Pro. Pascal hardware is newer than the PS4 Pro's GPU and the CPUs. Okay, either one, Xbox One or PS4, Pascal is newer. The Cortex, ARM Cortex chip is newer. It's going to have newer hardware than both of them if everything we're seeing in leaks is true. The Switch is going to be a very cool piece of technology for a couple reasons. Yes, it'll have Mario, it'll have the Raving Rabbids, all that stuff, but looking at it from a technological standpoint, this is going to be one of the most advanced pieces of hardware if it is using that advanced Pascal Tegra chip, which is going to be codenamed probably the P1. There's the K1, the X1, the P1, Kepler, Maxwell, and then of course Pascal. Okay, so if we're operating on the P1, we're looking at a system that could push native 1080p games that are sub 1080p on the Xbox One, and games that are 1080p on the PS4 but struggle. I could see the Pascal just being more powerful because it'll have things like more advanced shaders, things like that. And honestly, the operating system I think will function better with the Pascal because NVIDIA is going to design this sucker from the ground up for the Switch. It's going to have those advanced API settings, whereas we're trying to run Windows on an Xbox One, and I don't even know what Sony's using on theirs, but I feel like NVIDIA working this closely with only Nintendo with a game system, because remember, ATI had to work with the PS4 and the Xbox One. That's why they came out of the gate so similar, okay? I feel like we're gonna be surprised. I think the Switch is gonna come out, and I think it's going to turn a lot of heads. I think it's gonna surprise a lot of people. We still don't know how powerful, but if I had to put a number, okay, if someone said, look, put a number on the Switch, teraflop-wise, put a number on it, I would honestly, at this stage, I'm gonna come out and say it's gonna be somewhere between 1.3 and 1.5 teraflops when docked. I could be completely wrong, okay? These are all still speculation and leaks and rumors. However, her leaks are really good. They seem genuine. They don't seem to get like crazy out there, like saying, you know, there's, 3 Zeldas and a Smash Bros. And 2 Marios all on launch day or anything like that. It seems the craziest leak I've ever seen is Raving Rabbids with Mario. And honestly, after Ubisoft posted their video showing Rabbids with Mario and Luigi clothing on in the background, I think that's real too. But I have to say I'm surprised. I would say it's 1.3 to 1.5 teraflops, which doesn't mean a whole lot, like I said before. But with the advanced shaders from Pascal, and probably just the instruction set from NVIDIA, I could see this thing being a beast and actually rivaling the regular PS4 when docked. And that regular PS4, guys, supports things like VR, and it's supposed to be around the entire time the Pro's around. So the Switch is going to be current for a while. And I don't see why NVIDIA could not collaborate with Nintendo again to make a second Switch, 5-6 years down the road, the way these mobile processors and ARM chips and everything are evolving with the Tegra chips. So if you are a fan of Nintendo right now, I am a fan of technology. I like technology as a whole. I like Nintendo, I like Sony, I like Microsoft. As long as their business ethics are good and their practices are good, I like them. If you're a fan of Nintendo, you have to be like through the roof excited right now, okay? And keep in mind, guys, most of the stuff I have talked about in speculations so far has proven to be true. So I wonder if maybe I can go 3 for 3 and we get a beast of a system in January. Maybe that's when we see the presser and it's just ridiculous. But there was one other question I had on Twitter, and that was, how will the system know when it's docked, remember, because it's going to be a pass-through, as opposed to when it's just plugged in? So this is interesting to me. Now, there's a couple ways they can do this. There are other systems that use kind of mechanical tricks to do that. The most popular one is using something like a small magnet inside the system at the bottom, and then something in the dock to basically tell it when it's docked. So when those go together, like a little chip will short basically and say, I'm docked, overclock like hell, if you have a laptop, a MacBook, MacBook Pros are the most similar to use these because they actually use magnets inside the screen, and that actually triggers when it's closed. That's how it knows when those two magnets join. And it's a cool idea. There could also, honestly guys, there could also be a, USB-C is so advanced that there could actually be a certain pin inside that connector that when that's pushed down, that's not a normal one that you plug in, that when that's down says, yes, it's docked, go ahead and start overclocking. So there's a lot of ways they can do it. They'll probably honestly just build something into their dock that has an extra pin on USB-C that tells it when it's docked, but they could go the magnet route as well. It's hard to say. I would say though, me personally, if I had to guess, USB-C on theirs will be slightly unique in that there is an extra data point on that pin that says that it's docked. So, but one other thing, Nintendo, you need to get me to this event because I have called the system almost completely at this point. So you need to get me to this event, send me an invite so I will drive there. It'll take me like 3 hours to get there. I'll get up early in the morning. I'll be there. I'll test these systems out because they're saying that these people will be able to walk around with it portable and sit on couches and play them. Whatever, just get me there, Nintendo. If you're seeing this video, get me there. If you guys see this video and you want me there, send them a tweet on Twitter or whatever. And honestly, if they send me an invite, guys, I will go. My camera will come with me as far as I can take it. Literally, if they stop me at the door, you guys will see all the way up to the door to when they put their hand over the camera and stop me. So, Nintendo, come on, get me there. But that's going to do it for now, guys. I'm very excited about the system. I'm also very happy that, like I said, I've called most of it so far, but keep in mind we still have a ways to go until January 13th. I'm really hoping that the system comes up and it's not a bust. It's a beast. I see no reason why it can't be. Everything is there that says it will be. So, yes, if you guys are excited for the Switch, leave a like down below, comment, subscribe, all of that good stuff, and check out Newswave tonight because I will be talking about a game that appears to be leaked for the Switch that could kind of show off its power and really put it on the same level as the Xbox One or the PS4. So until then, guys, I will see you next time.